It's been one of those mornings. It's been referred to as the science of ecstasy. It's seen as a path to enlightenment by those who practice it, heightening and prolonging the special awareness that exists and bringing creativity, compassion and vitality to their lovemaking.
Devotees say Tantra turns sex into lovemaking, but 8 hours worth of lovemaking? Really, who has the time? To tell us more and dismiss, I don't have that time, and dismiss some of the misconceptions about tantric sex, we welcome Diane and Kerry Riley. Good morning to you both.
Good morning to you both.
Good morning.
Have you ever seen a more sort of grinning, happy, loving couple? There's something working for you two.
If you're telling me you're doing it now on the couch, I'm going to be a little concerned. Just keep it clean.
What is Tantra?
Tantra is, like itself, is a whole philosophy on life. Came from ancient India and China, and studied sexuality as part of its studies. Sexuality was an art form, so if you were a cultured gentleman, you'd be educated in the arts of sex. And so what we teach isn't traditional Tantra, it's contemporary, so usable right now. Like I saw an article the other day, Angela Jolie was taking Brad to a Tantra class. So It's out there, you know, You spoke of Sting, you know, with his 8-hour lovemaking sessions.
Yes,
but you know, in a later interview, Kim, he says, but 4 hours of that was begging for it.
Is that part of it? Is it about giving? Because everything I read about Tantra is that it's about being in the moment and it's about giving.
It's about giving, but it's also about anticipation and about building excitement, building passion before you actually get to the lovemaking stage. So in Tantra, they really widen the definition of lovemaking to bring in a lot of things that we would call foreplay. So that's building the anticipation so you don't arrive too quickly at the end.
Right.
Look, I think probably every man in Australia could benefit from that, because I think almost every woman in Australia at some stage has complained that their husband's idea of of initiating sex, what's it called? You know, before you do it.
What?
Building up to it. I've lost the word in my head.
Oh, foreplay. Foreplay.
Exactly. So lots of... I couldn't remember what the name of it was.
How's it going for you?
But a lot of women complain that their husband's idea of foreplay is, you know, the tap on the arm in the middle of the night. I've blushed now.
But that's exactly right, Kim, because the foreplay is really love play. And to keep passion alive in relationship, couples really need to be conscious of keeping that spark happening and inventing different ways and widening their definition of what love is and what sexuality is and how to give their partner pleasure. So one of the things Kerry will often say to guys, give your woman more of what she wants, more than what you think she wants. Yeah. And that's a special key.
I often say a little more of what she wants rather than a lot of what you think she wants.
Yeah. But it's look, my wife and I met with you two yesterday, and we sat down and we went through, I guess, the preliminary, the most basic introduction to
That's right,
this.
The foreplay to the foreplay.
And what the wonderful thing about it was that you take the time out with your partner or your lover. I mean, just starting at that point is a wonderful thing that we all sort of forget to do, don't we?
Yeah, I think that the process we put you through involves some meditative techniques, some heartwarming technique, and you guys had a lovely connection, you know, that was going on. And to bring that up, to remind yourself of that, because often we don't. We're doing this, we're doing that, we're doing that. We accept that's in place. But to just take some time and say, hey, let's do this little connection right now that doesn't even have to involve full-on sex, you know, it just involves some connection process, that you take time and say, hey, I need some connection right now, and do something about it. So I feel that the whole thing can then be brought back into sex. So if you take that time, then when you're making love, you know, so guys are making love, is a question about, are you performing to get a result, or are you making love? You know, often guys want to get a result. And that's it's a result, and that's cool, but, you know, I often say to guys, well, how much love are you feeling? Because that'll make your partner feel a lot better.
You know, there's a question here when somebody comes along to do one of these sessions with you, you speak to them beforehand. There is a questionnaire. Now the questionnaire is quite interesting in itself, and when you're asked these questions, you're asked to tick off things in the questionnaire. What is the difference that you most commonly see between the male answer and the female answer?
And what are the questions?
Oh, well, they're very simple questions, like how long have you been together? Have you any children living with you? You know, approximate ages. are you interested in Tantra just for general interest? A lot of people are. I find a lot of people want to kind of upskill, want to broaden the horizons a bit. They've already got a great relationship, but they want to keep sexual passion alive. And in this day and age, you know, with children and people working, it's very hard to fit that time for romance, let alone lovemaking in. So that's one of the things about just general interest. Another one is, you know, to connect the spiritual or the soulful with their lovemaking. A lot of women do want that in their relationship with their partner. Other things are differences in libido. Yeah.
Which is a very normal thing between men and women. I'm just laughing here because we're mosaicing out all the naughty bits on the Kama Sutra pictures. But David,
what you're looking at.
But David, I wanted to know from you, because it's something I've read about over the years and always been interested in, but the thought of sort of being in a room and having someone watch me doing things is a bit scary. So what is the process? Well, you know, is it in any way confronting or uncomfortable?
Well, no, it's not, because these are two very delightful people that make you feel very, very comfortable. It was, but I must stress that we didn't do anything out of the ordinary necessarily.
You weren't nude or anything?
We weren't nude or anything.
It's like going to a yoga lesson.
It was like, exactly. There are essences of yoga, there's essences of meditation. It was, what we went through was like a meditative breathing exercise, I suppose, with each other. But you talk about the connection, and you are there with somebody that you dearly love, and you are coaxed into realising the connection, aren't you?
Yes.
This is right.
Yes.
And then I think through that, then in your own lovemaking, you can remind yourself of that. You know, there's a little breathing practice that brings you into the moment. There's many skills, you know, talk about being present and being in the moment, your mind not rushing ahead trying to get results like I was talking about.
Yeah.
And breathing is one of the skills that is used in meditation, in Tai Chi and martial arts, all of these things, and in Tantra. So we give you that idea. So then in a normal lovemaking situation where you're just doing your thing, you can sometimes just stop because your mind might be too focused or drifted or whatever
you might be
else.
thinking of, you know, of the kids or what you've got to do tomorrow. You know how, because they often say there's 4
Doing a shopping list.
That's right. Often people will say,
Wondering about the colour of the ceiling.
I can't believe these things women think about.
Oh, no, I'm not saying I do. I'm saying other people are.
No, of course not.
We've had surveys where women will write down things like you've just said.
Yes.
Really?
Yes.
And men will write different things.
Well, that's what I was
They're not
asking
thinking of
before.
shopping lists.
That's right.
What is the difference? I mean,
What do men write?
when people come to you today, what are they looking for? Different things necessarily, or are they combined in their thinking?
Well, I think for women are looking for more soulful connection with their partners. They're looking for great sex and more love play, and more of the type of love play they want, but also as well as a soulful connection. Whereas the guys are looking for more sex.
And real issues that men have. You know, everyone realises this day that men have issues around control. You know, there's ads all the time on the radio, and issues as you get older about loss of strength and virility. And there's pills, of course, you can take for these things. But I say to some of these young guys on the phone, you know, you spray these things up your nose, you don't want to be doing that for the rest of your life.
Yeah.
There are
very
skills you can learn.
techniques, yes.
You know, like if you were never shown how to swim, it'd be difficult, you know. But you should a few strokes, a few breathing, you improve. And it's the same with Tantra. These skills were developed over hundreds of years to improve these things. So Sting was talking about lengthy lovemaking. I mean, I made the joke of what he said, but truly you can make love for long periods of time.